Hello and welcome to News Central now on News Central TV. I am Adebola Adedugba. The top stories of this hour. Impeached Speaker of Lagos State House Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, dispute removal, denies graft claims. Abuja doctors call off warning strike after FCT minister's intervention. Angolan president urges ceasefire as tensions escalate in DR Congo. And details shortly. Let's begin by telling you that the impeached Speaker of the Lagos State House Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has disputed his removal by lawmakers. And speaking publicly for the first time since his impeachment on Saturday, Obasa emphasized the importance of lawmakers adhering to constitutional procedure for his removal. He addressed a large crowd of supporters at the Speaker's Lodge 47 GRA, Ikeja, Lagos State. The former Speaker also categorically denied the corruption allegations leveled against him by lawmakers during the impeachment proceedings, describing the alleged financial misappropriation as impossible.
I believe in removal. There's no impeachment in the assembly. You cannot impeach Speaker. Probably there's a mistake from them. You can only remove one house, please. You can only remove the Speaker. And if you are going to remove, you must ensure you follow the rules of the law. I'm not afraid to be removed. What else am I looking for? If I serve as a Speaker of the House, and I've served as a member of the House of Assembly since 2003 up to date. So what is the problem? Nothing. And the former councillor as a legislator. Say if you want to do that, do it constitutionally. Follow the due process.
And now to security matters, where notorious terrorist leader Bello Turji has expressed his willingness to surrender. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who disclosed this on Friday, revealed that recent military operations targeting Turji's network have significantly weakened his position. He stated that the operations led to the elimination of Turji's second-in-command and several top lieutenants, forcing him to release many hostages and consider laying down arms. Musa explained that the challenges being faced by the military in tracking Turji, noting his movement, are often unpredictable, making it difficult to act swiftly on intelligence. However, he noted that the military's recent successes have created pressure on Turji's group, leading to his decision to surrender. And still on security, the Kano State Police Command has raised concerns over intelligence report indicating potential terrorist attack on public gatherings in the state. However, the Kano State Government has accused the Nigerian Police of issuing a false alarm to disrupt the annual National Tijjaniyya Maulud, organized under the leadership of Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II. In a press release issued on Friday, the command urged residents to exercise caution, avoid crowded areas, and promptly report any suspicious activities. Meanwhile, addressing journalists at a press briefing held at Emir's Palace in Kano, the Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Comrade Ibrahim Abdu Waiya, condemned the actions of the security agencies, describing them as unwarranted and unjustified. And Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja has prescribed the Lakurawa set classifying it as a terrorist organization. The prescription order followed an ex parte application filed by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi. In a ruling, Justice Omotosho equally proscribed similar groups operating in Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north-central regions of the country. The AGF had, in an ex parte application, approached the court seeking 4 orders. Assistant Director in the Federal Ministry of Justice, David Kwase, moved the motion dated January 13th and filed on January 14th by Director of Public Prosecutions of the Federation, M.B. Abubakar. Residents of several communities in Borno State have expressed grave concerns about the resurgence of violent attack in the areas. The renewed wave of assaults carried out by insurgents have left dozens murdered, and properties destroyed. Our correspondent, Umaru Kirawa, tells us more.
The echoes of conflict gradually fading away in Nigeria's northeast state of Borno. Recent attacks in villages and towns of Bama, Chibok, Goza, and Kuka local government areas is raising eyebrows.
I could recall in Anjilang, the first attack that I was currently in Chibok around 12 midnight when they launched the attack. They destructed some stores and shops which they packed some farm product, and also after being packing all those sorts of farm product and food items, they burned and also killed a student, I think a JS3 student of a public school. I don't know whether this is being reported. Not only in Njilang, but also in Bomzir.
Places in Baga is also hit, and it's actually very, very bad. I believe our Nigerian army and Nigerian government has to do more. Yeah, even though they do a lot, they've done a lot so far, and state government have done a lot of things. They will be able to resettle a lot of people, but I think we have to put hands on deck and make sure that most of these things don't reoccur again.
Affected communities fear that without urgent and decisive action, the attacks could escalate further, threatening the fragile peace in the region.
With the help of the government and other NGO bodies, they can do better in order for every child in Borno State to fulfill his dreams and achieve his goals.
We have seen the communities that have been resettled are now living in peace, particularly the Ramakla, the Bita, Izge, Goshe, Kirawa, and Pulka are now living peacefully. The peace has been restored there. And again, His Excellency, he has already made the complement of resettling other peoples back to Agapalawa and Ashigashia, Chikde, Jogode, Gava, and others. So the issue of Chibok, government is doing a wonderful and gigantic job to see how peace can be restored. And I'm appealing to the concerned citizens of that particular communities to support the militaries, because militaries are doing well, and we are having problem with the communities, particularly the informers are the problem of the society.
Prioritizing timely information sharing, intelligence-driven operations, and strengthen armed forces presence in remote areas is said to be critical in addressing the scourge of the attacks.
I would like to challenge the telecommunication companies to stabilize the network in rural areas, precisely in the neighboring villages within Chibok community. Many attacks have been launched in these neighboring villages, which have not been passed across the state.
While Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, among other neighboring local government areas are safe and people go about their day-to-day activities, deliberate measures are needed to safeguard rural communities. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Officers and men of the Nigerian Army under the 3 Armored Division and Operation Safe Haven have been commended for their hard work, bravery, and resilience exhibited in the pursuit of peace and security in the troubled areas of the formation's Joint Operations Area. And those were the words of the outgone General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdul Waiya, during his handing over ceremony at the division's headquarters in Jos. Our correspondent Chizoba Anyanwe has details.
Major General Abdul Abubakar took over the command on 8th July 2023 to bring to a halt the seemingly unabated violence of more than 2 decades in some parts of Plateau State that took over 4,000 lives, leaving more than 800 others with varying degrees of injuries in over 260 separate attacks between 2023 and 2024. That was Major General Abdul Abubakar's last inspection of quarter guard as the GOC of 3 Division and commander of Operation Safe Haven. Next was the signing of the handover and takeover notes, presentation of the seal of command, and lowering and hoisting of the flag. General Abubakar had earlier addressed the personnel on the ground, assuring them of his successor's ability to consolidate on their achievements.
I'll start by commending all officers, soldiers, and all personnel of Operation Safe Haven for your dedication, professionalism, and sacrifice in the maintenance of peace and security in our joint operations area. I am also without doubt very confident of the competence and professionalism of the incoming commander, and that he will build on the milestones recorded and to take Operation Safe Haven to greater heights.
The new GOC and commander, Major General Eyitayo Oyinlola, says welfare of troops, good leadership, critical stakeholders' engagement, among others, are measures he will deploy to end the violence in Plateau State.
This crisis has been on for over 2 decades. We can't continue like this. This is not the way life is meant to be. So we must put in everything that we can to ensure that peace is achieved finally. And all this situation where you always have troops here and there because people cannot live peacefully must come to an end amicably, and we will achieve that.
Residents of Jos, the Plateau State capital, expressed satisfaction on the delivery of the outgone GOC, hoping the new leadership will do even better.
As a people, we are happy that he was very, very thorough and professional in the discharge of his duty. And we welcome Major General E.F. Oyinlola, who has taken over from him. We pray that the lacuna, the loopholes that we had, because there's no perfect environment anywhere, he's going to bridge them, and our people will enjoy sound sleep.
Abdul Salam has shown professionalism, has shown competence, has shown expertise. In short, he met the expectation of every Plateau person. And what do we expect now? Nothing apart from sustaining the tempo.
There was relatively peace throughout his stay. As I said, he brought people together. The coming of this new GOC, I hope that he will learn from what he has done. He needs to also discuss, pick up from his handover notes so he can move forward.
With the relative peace being enjoyed by all and sundry on the plateau, all expectation now is that the new GOC and commander of Operation Safe Haven consolidates on the achievements of his predecessor in ensuring that this peace continues unabated. In Jos, Plateau State for News Central, I am Chizoba Anyowe.
After the break, Abuja doctors call off warning strike over unpaid arrears after FCT minister's intervention. Details shortly. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. The United Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Nigeria says that an estimated 7.8 million people have been affected by insecurity in the northeastern region of the country and are in dire need of humanitarian support. The head of the UN agency made this known during the launch of the 2025 Nigeria Humanitarian Needs and Response Plan, saying that funding for humanitarian efforts in the country has continued to decline. Our correspondent Joshua Amarai has details.
Nigeria's northeastern state of Borno, Adamawa and Yobe are now in their 15th year of insurgency, conflict and insecurity. With the ongoing crisis in this state, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says an estimated 7.8 million people have been affected and are in urgent need of humanitarian support.
And what we are seeing in the northeast, but also in the northwest, in the northeast, we are seeing an increase in the number of people displaced. There are now 2.3 million people displaced as a result of insecurity, as well as then natural disasters. And we're also seeing banditry, organized criminality causing displacement in the northwest.
Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, who was also at the launch, called for a cohesive approach to ensure that no one is left behind as support agencies provide life-saving assistance during crisis.
As we gather here today, we are reminded that the numbers in this report represents real lives, children, women, and men, whose resilience inspires us to act with urgency and compassion. It is a call to action for all stakeholders to work tirelessly to ensure that no one is left behind.
Nigeria's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, during his address, unveiled the federal government's plan for responding to humanitarian needs of citizens.
The president just gave a go-ahead to the ministry, gave a marching order to the ministry to ensure that between February and April, we're able to pay 10 million households in terms of conditional cash transfer. He has also approved a sum of 32 billion naira for us to give soft loans that are collateral-free and interest-free to farmers.
With the three northeastern states still facing insurgency, stakeholders have called on both federal and state government to take the lead in providing adequate funding for humanitarian response. In Abuja from Central, I am Joshua Imarayi.
Away from that, the Association of Resident Doctors in the Federal Capital Territory, FCTA, has called off its warning strike after the intervention of the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. The president of the association, Dr. George Ebong, in a statement on Friday, said the FCTA under Wike has met their demands. On Wednesday, the doctors granted all FCTA-owned hospitals in Abuja over unpaid arrears and other demands. However, in an update on Friday, Dr. Ebong revealed that its members have started receiving alerts of 6 months' salary arrears. Ebong therefore noted that with the intervention by Wike, doctors in the FCT are requested to resume work on Saturday, 25th January 2025. Nigerians have expressed concerns about the rise in prices of foods and other staple commodities, and they are finding it hard to make ends meet, which has continuously thrown them into a state of despair. Our correspondent, Bettina Nwele, has been on the street of Lagos to feel the pulse of the people.
The increased cost of living in Lagos, Nigeria has had a lot of people thinking twice. Sellers are complaining about the reduced number of buyers that they have, and buyers are also complaining about the inflation in the cost of prices of foodstuff. But we entered the streets of Lagos to ask people how they are faring and what they would like the government to do, and to also find out what is the root cause of this inflation when it comes to foodstuff.
At local markets across the city, vendors and shoppers alike are voicing their frustrations. Prices of staples like rice, garri, and beans have seen a staggering increase over the past 3 months.
Though it varies, we have garri of 5,000 naira, we have of 3,000, depends on your choice. It was actually 3,205. So, but as at now, we sell it for 5,000 naira. Sales has dropped drastically. It has dropped because even with the few people that buys now, we actually give credit to them because it's not easy. It's not easy anywhere right now.
Before, I sell carrots 200, 300. Now, I tight for 1,500. Because it's cost, people no go complain to you. So people they crying. They tell say Nigeria beating cost. Because I say leaf, you want only these beetroots, you no go spell. This one, if I put water, remains small time. If people no buy, you go spell.
Pátápátá sí bó ṣe wà tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ rúgbà ká máa ra basket tomato ní 15,000, 12,000 èrò wọn nìyẹn pé kó wálẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀.
It's not funny, so I try to cope with my family. I have a wife, I have kids and all that, you know. But since things has gone high, you have to adjust your daily spendings so you'll be able to accommodate the other expenditure that will come in.
Everybody adjusts now. You go chow first morning food around 12. Another one at night too. No 3 square meal again.
Analysts point to several factors fueling inflation, including the effects of global supply chain disruptions.
And here in Nigeria, we also have not, prepared or done enough to mitigate the shortage of food. And so while you have so much money in the hands of people, there is not enough food for them to buy. The rural areas must be made attractive. The quality of life in those areas must be improved so that our young ones will be attracted to farming, because farming is seen as a misfortune. It's seen as a punishment. We need to do a lot of things. The ideas are numerous, but Nigeria must pick among the many ideas that are available to it the best suited for our client. But food inflation must be stemmed.
As Lagosians continue to navigate these challenging times, the hope remains that targeted interventions will bring relief and stabilize the economy. In Lagos, for News Central, I'm Bettina Nwili.
Of shanties used as stores by traders in Abia is generating concerns among affected traders in Abia State, southeast Nigeria. The harmonized task force on Tuesday commenced the dispersing of traders occupying streets, roads, and unauthorized places for buying and selling in the city. News Central's Chinwe Ugele throws more light.
The plea of the traders is for the Abia State Government to provide a place where they can relocate to.
I
think the first thing the government should do is to make adequate provision for all these traders, because as of today, everybody is stranded. We don't even know where to begin. We don't even know where to start.
At Ongwa Road Market on Friday, full commercial activities are going on in the middle of the road, even after the harmonized task force dispersed traders and their customers on Thursday. The traders say it is quite early in the year to take away people's means of livelihood just 1 month after Christmas.
We just came back from village. We have spent a lot of money at the village, and we are here to recover them all, to enable us to pay the house rent and shop rent. And now they demolish our things. Where do they want us to go?
Another major concern expressed by traders at Eche Road Market is insecurity, which some say may be escalating if the young people affected are not allowed to carry on with their trade.
Because things they too difficult in this country now. And then you post show in your job career. I am gonna have a business and mega zoo show.
Crime because a lot of people were engaged into something in order to get their daily bread.
Part of their excuses is that the markets are already filled up and cannot take in more people.
You have to put people in consideration. When looking at it, you will know that this is a marketplace and we have limited shops.
Imaya cannot accommodate these people.
Some residents are, however, in support of the dispersal of street traders.
These people who on the roadside supposed to find shop in the market, start to sell their markets.
Abia State Commissioner for Information, Kano, on Tuesday told journalists in Umuahia that government will begin clampdown of street traders in Aba and Umuahia.
All the complaints from the people boiled down to the fact that they have nowhere else to go. They are asking the state government to provide an alternative for them in order for them to carry out their daily buying and selling. Will the state government heed to the demands of the masses this time around? In Aba, for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugele.
In the meantime, Abia State Government has agreed to pay the contentious salary arrears, minimum wage and other entitlements of judiciary staff workers in the state. The government and the leadership of Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria in Abia State on Thursday evening signed a memorandum of understanding, MOU, wherein the union also promises to call off the strike upon receipt of arrears of salaries for the workers. Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General of the Federation of the State, Ikechukwu Wana, explains the content of the MOU.
Efforts were on top gear to ensure that all the workers in Abia State, whether they work for the judiciary or the legislature or judiciary, are put on the same payroll wherein they will get the new scale. However, it happened that the judiciary, having been independent, there was a bit of some challenges with understanding what their payment structure was. Since 2014 or 2013, the judiciary has always had what is called a conjus scale. That conjus scale is what we have continued to use. That conjus scale takes into consideration the peculiarities of judiciary workers. It takes into consideration of the peculiar nature of the work they do. And that scale is what we have maintained in the computation. I think it will be important to thank my Lord, the Chief Judge of Abia State, Honorable Justice Lillian Abai, for her efforts in the resolution of this impasse.
We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll bring you conversation on the Lakurawa sect being proscribed as a terrorist organization. Do stay tuned. Thank you for staying tuned. Recall we brought you the news regarding the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice James Omotosho, proscribing the Lakurawa sect as a terrorist organization. And to help unpack that, we're joined by a security analyst and person of Dr. Edinen Usoro. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let me kick off by asking what your thoughts are, what your impression is of the court declaring the Lakurawa sect as a terrorist group. What do you make of that?
I think it's the right thing to happen, but this supposed to have taken effect maybe several years back, because the Lakurawa sect is not just a sect that started operating yesterday or last year. Their existence should be between 2016 and 2018, and they've been active in Sokoto and Kebbi states all this while. You know, it's just that they are becoming murderous like the Boko Haram sect and competing with the bandits, and that's why we're beginning to talk about them now. But I believe that sects like this, from intelligence, the government would have acted much, much earlier, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago.
When you say intelligence now, if you could just expatiate, what role do you think intelligence agencies can play in gathering evidence to support such prescription of a terrorist group in Nigeria?
Yeah, unfortunately, in Nigeria, if you look at, people talk about our security architecture. Most of the times, the government people wait until when situations are about getting out of hand. The intelligence I'm talking about is that if those guys have been in Sokoto, they've been in Kebbi State for this long, they came in trying to offer security cover for the inhabitants, opposing the bandits, fighting the bandits. And then they were really being welcomed. They were welcomed by the locals. And so they stayed there, they started operating, protecting, in quote, the locals. It was much, much later, they now began to operate a very, very strict religious kind of rules, like not allowing the young men to have certain kind of haircuts, punishing young men who barb their beards, and not allowing people to listen to music and all that. That was when. And then, of course, if you don't, like those who don't pay zakat to them, they will seize their cattle. Remember before, like I said, these people were welcomed by the locals because they saw them as their own savior against the bandits. But if the intelligence was active, that was when the government would have acted. You don't wait until these guys that we're talking about, people having thousands of armed men and parading the communities.
Let's talk about...
yes.
Just to follow your line of thought, Dr. Usoro, let's look at international laws, for instance, such as the UN's definition of terrorism. Do you think that in any way can influence national court decisions on prescribing groups like the Lakurawa sect?
Yes, because what they do is that they're killing, they will go to a whole community and they'll kill, they'll eliminate everyone that doesn't agree with one. They're kind of rules, their kind of religious laws, and they are terrorizing the people. But unfortunately, like I said, if we had acted much earlier, it meets the United Nations, guidelines perfectly. They are non-state actors carrying arms, enforcing laws, enforcing taxes. That's all that you need here.
Well, thanks so much indeed for your insight on the news. Dr. Edinen Usoro, security analyst, many thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Angolan President João Lourenço has urged warring parties in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, to return to the negotiating table following the collapse of peace talks last year. Since the failure of Angola-led peace talks, the M23 militia group backed by Rwandan troops has made significant territorial gains in the mineral-rich east of the DRC. The ongoing conflict has triggered a severe humanitarian crisis as their forces advance towards the provincial capital of Goma, a city of over 1 million people. Angola also condemned the escalating violence, highlighting the grave implications for the fragile humanitarian situation, particularly around the besieged town of Goma.
O Executivo angolano continuará a colocar toda a sua experiência ao serviço da paz em África e prosseguirá com todas as diligências possíveis para encontrar soluções viáveis aos conflitos que têm minado o desenvolvimento econômico do nosso continente, como aquele que opõe a República Democrática do Congo ao Ruanda. Saudamos o acordo faseado de cessar-fogo recentemente alcançado entre Israel e o Hamas sobre a faixa de Gaza, resultante do diálogo e da persistência da diplomacia dos países envolvidos, nomeadamente os Estados Unidos da América, o Catar e o Egito, a quem felicitamos. Que seja encaminhada toda a ajuda humanitária aos habitantes de Gaza, que seja dado início à reconstrução de Gaza e não se perca esta janela de oportunidade para que, na base das resoluções do Conselho de Segurança das Nações Unidas, comecem efetivamente a ser dados os passos concretos que levarão à criação do Estado da Palestina.
Still ahead, lawyer of impeached South Korean President Yoon says he is in dire situation. Details shortly. Thank you for staying with us. The lawyer of impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol claims that the former leader is in a dire situation, and this follows South Korean's prosecutors requesting an extension of the former president's detention on Saturday over his failed attempt to declare martial law. Lawyer Yoon Gap-kwen asserts that President Yoon's arrest was unlawful, and the renewed investigation has been a tool for agendas of his political opponents.
야당의 하명수사기관으로 전락한 공수처는 헌법기관인 대통령을 대상으로 법률이 정한 적법 절차를 무시하고 수많은 불법 수사를 자행해왔습니다. 엄청난 인력을 동원하여 대통령 경호처를 압박하며 무력화하고 대통령을 불법적으로 체포한 과정 하나하나가 불법의 집합체였습니다. 이 모든 것이 조기 대선을 통해 권력을 찬탈하려는 것으로 이야말로 완벽한 내란죄라 할 것입니다. 지금 검찰이 할 일은 전례도 찾기 힘든 구속영장 연장 재신청이 아니라 즉각 대통령을 석방하고 공수처의 내란죄, 군사기밀보호법 위반 등 불법 행위를 조속히 수사를 착수하여 엄중하게 수사하는 것입니다. 지금 대통령은 어떠한 방어권도 허용되지 않는 상황에서 어떠한 불이익도 고스란히 감수해야 하는 참담한 상황입니다.
The head of the U.S. Development Program, Achim Steiner, says that the Israel-Hamas war has put back development in Gaza by 60 years. He asked that mobilizing tens of billions of dollars needed for reconstruction will be an uphill struggle. The Stennis says around 2/3 of all buildings in the Gaza Strip have been entirely destroyed or damaged. The fragile ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas in Gaza war took effect on Sunday. The Stennis said it was difficult to put a time frame on reconstruction due to the volatile nature of the ceasefire and because the UN's immediate focus is on life-saving aid.
Scale of destruction, we are not only talking about the infrastructure, where probably between 65 to 70% of buildings in Gaza have either been entirely destroyed or damaged. But we're also talking about an economy that has been destroyed, where we estimate that roughly 60 years of development have been lost in this conflict over 15 months. You have to imagine 2 million people who in the Gaza Strip have lost not only their shelter, they've lost public infrastructure, sewage treatment systems, fresh water supply systems, public waste management. All of these fundamental infrastructure and service elements simply do not exist. We estimate that roughly 42 million tons of rubble will have to be removed now, and the number could go up. And this is not a simple undertaking of just loading it and transporting it somewhere. This rubble is dangerous. There are often still bodies that may not have been recovered. There's unexploded ordnance, landmines. So it's a dangerous task also that requires very careful planning in order to avoid further loss of life.
In the world of sport, the Football Association of Zambia has unveiled former Switzerland defender Nora Haptul as the new head coach of the Zimbabwe women's national team. Haptul replaces Bruce Mwape, who will pursue a CAF Pro course as part of FA's investment in local coaches. FA's president, Andrew Kamanga, announced clear targets for Haptul, including winning the 2025 Women's African Cup of Nations, qualifying for the 2026 edition, and securing a spot in the next Olympics. Haptul will also oversee junior team talent development. Assistant Haptul are Swiss coach Felipe Hasler and Zambian coaches Charles Habono and Enala Firi. FAS emphasized the focus on knowledge transfer to strengthen local coaching expertise and future national team assignments. Madison Keys clinched her first Grand Slam title at age 29, defeating world #1 Arena Sabalenka 6-3, 2-6, 7-5 in the Australian Open final. The 19th-seeded American ended Sabalenka's 20-match Melbourne Park win streak, denying the Belarusian a third consecutive title. Keys, a teenager prodigy who debuted on a WTA tour at 14 years, fulfilled her long-awaited dream after a 15-year journey. A former U.S. Open runner-up, Keys made her first Grand Slam semi-final in Melbourne a decade ago. A victory marks a return to form after battling injuries last year, and we'll see her rise to world #7. Alfie Hewett claimed his 10th Grand Slam wheelchair singles title by defeating defending champion Tokito Oda 6-4, 6-4 in the Australian Open final. The victory marks Hewett's second singles title in Melbourne and ends a 3-match losing streak against the 18-year-old Japanese player who defeated him in their last 3 major finals, including the Paralympics. The 27-year-old Britain's win concludes a stellar tournament after securing a 6th consecutive doubles title with Gordon Reid. The win further cements Hewett's legacy as one of the sport's all-time greats. And that's all on the news. Let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Impeached Speaker of Lagos State House Assembly, Modashiru Obasa, has disputes removal, denied graft claims. Abuja doctors have called off warning strike after FCT minister's intervention. We also told you that Angolan president has urged ceasefire as tensions escalate in DR Congo. You can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adibola Adiduba.